I wear glasses, and FaceRig absolutely hates glasses. So very often, kind of like it'll lose the face recognition, and then it'll kind of like look as if I'm sitting or standing stock still, and then it'll click back in. Hey, Sherryman Pigeon, going good, thank you. So, alrighty, let's have a look here. Let's get to the agenda. I basically had three main things that I wanted to talk about today, and get you guys a little bit caught up with things moving towards domain and settlement selection. I think that's going to be a huge thing for us in terms of the communities are going to start becoming more active again, right? Once you know exactly where you are and whether you're on a river or whether you're on the coast, it's kind of like it's a fairly significant thing in many ways. Obviously, it's not actual content of the game and everything that we're all kind of like waiting for and everything like that, but it's I think it's a significant step, definitely in the right direction for that. So I'm going to show you guys today the little bit more about our website, which is literally, it's so close to being kind of like officially launched, it's almost silly. You'll be able to see on the screenshot that I'm about to show you and present. Let's have a look. All right. Let me get back to the home thing, and then I switch to desktop, and you guys should shortly be seeing the screen for our website with the welcome to Boardwall thing. Are you guys able to see that?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So what we have here is Will has done all the coding on this. We've had our creative team working on the images and some of the content, etc. Primus has been doing a really amazing job of. This is a custom coded website. Let me, I guess, say that first and foremost. It's not done through WordPress or anything. It is all basically custom coded. We do have some modules on here from Joomla, which thank you for those of you that support us through the Patreon system. Those modules probably in total run us $300 to $500 a year. And so part of that Patreon thing is, and thank you, Borna, yes, for the Patreon. A lot of that Patreon goes to cover, these kinds of expenses. So what I'll do is I want to show you through a little bit of this website. We're going to have the domains thing. We're just finishing off right now. If you guys want to check it out, you're welcome to. You can see at the top it's HTTPS, with the ://boardwall.com. It's not fully ready yet for you guys to register, because what's going to be happening is when you register on this website, you're going to be able to register as to which duchy you're in, which county you're in, and which settlement you're in, etc. And you'll be given roles based upon that. Each, if we were to look at, let's look at the Royal Grand Duchy of Boardwall. It downloaded it. Maybe it's because I have the Alt key up. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. So what you would have is you've got the duchies, and the duchies will have you'll have your recruitment information up here, and each duchy, each county, each separate kind of settlement will have their own page, and you'll be able to follow. For example, here, if we let's look at Elb's one of county. This is where your recruitment posts will be going up, and you'll be able to post links in here. You'll be able to post images. The idea is that we'll actually have like a little mini forum for each of your own little domains and settlements that nobody else on the website will see, except for those of you that are in, whether it's that particular duchy or that particular county, settlement, or organization, etc. And those we'll have little tutorials as to how to fill that out, etc. We have something, Noz, I don't know if you want to address something about the recruitment posts, because we're kind of like we disabled or asked for people not to post recruitment posts on the Kingdom Discord, hoping that this website was going to come out a little bit sooner than it has, but we're almost there. Do you have anything to add on to that, Noz?
Yeah, it seems like since we opened it back up, people have forgotten the pins and posting the same material more than once. In some cases, we had individuals posting the same thing 4 and 5 different times. I went through there and cleaned it up today, and a lot of our mods and people that we have around the kingdom that help out, do a pretty good job of keeping that clean. But it's unnecessary for us to be competing with one another in that recruitment thread. Post your recruitment post, and if it needs to be updated or changed, you can always edit it or delete it and post a whole new one, but don't keep posting the same thing over and over again. It's not fair to everyone else that's playing by the rules, and it's just completely unnecessary. But hopefully when you get this website up and running 100% D, that'll alleviate itself.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So something else that we'll have kind of like that will help you on your recruitments is the following. We have a interactive map that on this one, Ariel and Will have been working, Atriel and Will have been working hard on. As this states, it is just a demo right now. Please understand that what will happen is when we get, I don't know if all of you are following the forums for COE, but they recently released out how they're going to be doing the map, and it's going to be kind of like this pretty awesome fantasy looking map kind of thing. And when we get that, I'm going to be screenshotting it, detail, and it will become the base image. We just have kind of like a default little image in here at the moment. But what will happen is we expect this to be, we'll make it basically for the entire continent, so the other kingdoms can actually join in on this as well, should they want to. But if you click on something, it's going to give you the information on the kingdom. Lead is Deletherus, it's got the Discord, it's got the website, it's got the recruitment post, and right now we've just got a couple of kind of like we've put in fake data for the laws and everything like that, right? So we've got a set of filters, and we'll be adding to these filters, but you can then look at it by duchy. And so if you're interested in a particular, you'd be able to click on that duchy right there. And again, you would get all the information and what the laws are, etc., etc. And this kind of like piggybacks onto that coding that we're doing on the website right now with the roles. A duke will be able to actually enter in this data for his own duchy, but not for anybody else's. A count will be able to enter stuff in for his county, etc., etc. So if we zoom in on the county level, you can see here that we have the counties, and you'll have the same thing. You'll be able to pop in, there'll be examples, there'll be the rules are there, so that if you're going to be traveling across the kingdom, right, and you're going to be going through counties that you're not familiar with, you are actually going to be able to click on that county and see what the laws of that county are before you actually visit it. And if it says, we're going to be killing strangers on sight, and that's part of the laws, obviously a stupid law, I'm giving a silly example here, but then oh shit, I want to avoid going around that county, and I'll plan a different route, right? And then what we have, you can then zoom in on a settlement level. And on this settlement level, you can see here the overlay, the filters have changed. And again, these aren't set yet, but let's say that you were like, oh wow, I'm a blacksmith, and I don't have a place to live yet, you would click on this wanted professions. You would go to blacksmith, and hopefully he might not have put it. Yep, there's one there. The town of Midchurn is looking for a blacksmith, right? And then what you could do is let me check what the tax rate is in Midchurn, and holy crap, it's 20.5%, whereas in Heston it's only 2.5%. I don't want to go and live in Midchurn because the taxes are going to be too high, etc. And so what will happen is you can do the same for imports and exports. Let's say that you're wanting to attract business, and people are coming to the town, and they're interested in flax. Well, these three, actually, you can see them as you zoom out. You can see that there are 4 or 5 towns that are exporting flax, and again, you can check on their tax rates, see what their tax rates are, and if they're fairly similar, you get in touch with them. Likewise with imports, there might be one. Let's say that you're a seller of honey, right? And you want to see who is really needing honey. Boom, there's the town right there, Churnmouth, and I don't know if there are any others. Yeah, there's another one up here that's got honey. So what will happen is you're going to actually be able to put in, you're going to be able to customize. Remember when, let me zoom out here. If you actually click on that town, right, you can actually then get all of the information on that town for that specific town. It's got its NPC populations, what the tribe is, what the religion is, its RP status, what its research focus is, tax rates, etc., etc. And so we're hoping that this is going to be a really, really nice benefit and a tool that you guys are going to be able to use to, it's not mandatory, obviously, that you fill stuff out here, but the more that you can promote your settlement or your county or your duchy, etc., and attract people to come here. We're actually going to be teaming up, funny enough, with a merchant organization, and they've got a database there of all the different merchants. We might even be able to put to where merchants will be able to, we might have a separate kind of like filter here for merchants, and they will be kind of like the certified merchants. They'll have to be to a certain standard, for want of a better word, and you'll be able to click on that and know what the guy is buying, what he's selling, etc., etc. So hopefully you guys can kind of like see what we're doing here, and that you're kind of excited about that as much as we are. So I'm going to click here. We'll get it. Oh, the other thing is, let me actually get back to that. The other thing that I want to mention about that, we have with the upcoming domain and settlement selection, obviously we're going to be placing everybody who's bought a package that qualifies for placement, which is basically mayor and baron on up. We're going to be placing during domain and settlement selection, but after domain and settlement selection, there's going to be what is known as a reverse auction. And that is any NPC town or county or duchy is available for sale. And what will happen is, let me get back down, sorry, to the county level here. What will happen is we'll be able to advertise, hey, this county is available for sale. We don't mind if somebody buys this through the reverse auction, or we can have, don't buy this county because it's very important to us, and we're planning on conquering it as an NPC county. We have a use for it, and if you purchase this county, basically it's not going to be a happy time for you, kind of thing. So what else do we have in here? We have, there's domains, there's the kingdom map. Oh, if I go back to the home, keep clicking Alt and it keeps downloading shit. So there's going to be, we'll have, as you can see, we're going to have the latest news feeds on here. There'll be current articles and everything like that. I think it goes to archives, kind of like visually here, the last three. We've got the kingdom map you can access here again. There's going to be a quick FAQ about the kingdom, etc. Links to our Twitch, community projects. The archive project that my mouse is hovering over right now, this is amazing, an amazing project that has been in the works for the last 6-7 months, very quietly. The people working on this are almost doing a thankless job because, you know, people don't know about it. But we are archiving basically every comment in Discord that has been made by the devs and every post on the forums that is just from the devs. So if you wanted to find out about the tribes, right? Let's say you wanted to find out about the Neran, you would be able to click a filter off for the Neran, and you'd actually be able to filter that even further by saying, I only want to see what Caspian had to say about Neran or Snipe Hunter. And it will bring up all the archives of their comments with a link that will either take you to that specific place on the Discord, or it will take you to that thread on the forum so that you could actually read the entire thread so that the quote isn't taken out of context, kind of thing. And then last but not least, we have the board wall script. Let me open that up. This is where our interactive online books are. We're hoping everybody will be able to make these if they want to put in the time. I'll be putting, again, a little tutorial together for this where you'll be able to download the software for free. When you've finished your book, you basically will send it to me because the free software publishes it with big watermarks everywhere. Again, funded by those of you that are helping out with the Patron. It was a $400 program. And when I upload it, it comes without the bookmarks. But you would then be able to, you'd be able to read the lore kind of thing if you wanted to on the tail of the blood oak, and then boom, here's that flip book, and you can then read it. But we can make flip books about anything. You can make flip books about lore. You can make flip books about another flip book that I made. I guess let me quickly show that. Another flip book that I had made was the community manual, the members manual. And so it doesn't even have to be in book format. This one is more of kind of like a single sheet and everything like that. And you can actually, you can click on them. So if you wanted to know, more about, why do we have the kingdom laws that you click on that and it takes you to the kingdom laws page. And it says, it shows that there are 2 pages, etc., etc. And you would then obviously flip to the next page to get an understanding of the laws. There's stuff there about how to act in Discord, what happens when you're changing community. In fact, if I go back to the front page, you can see about it. There's a welcome page. How can you help? What's going to be about charters, laws, Discord, chain of command, etc. So that probably brings me to an end about the discussion about the website. Does anybody have any questions or comments here in Discord? Let me flip back to the Discord here. Any questions or comments about the website, guys? This is a push to talk channel, so make sure if you want to ask me a question that you're in push to talk. Anybody?
So are we concerned by putting information that this county is important to us, that there might actually be a group that wants to mess with us that would purposefully take that area from?
D, you're streaming your Discord. You might not want to do that, bub.
Okay. Hold on. So,
We've been out.
so the question on that is, you know, I don't think that the kind of information that we're putting out there is going to be super harmful to us. I mean, it can be used. I mean, anything you put out there can be used against you, and anything that you put out there can be used to your benefit, right? We're not going to be putting up, you know, how many soldiers are in each town, or, you know, what the defensive plans of town X is going to be. And so I feel that whereas some people could certainly use this to their advantage, I think that the benefits to our community as a whole of being able to see what's going on and plan, I don't think that this helps anybody kind of like really undermine us, right? It gives them the information sooner, but there's not any information that we're displaying on the interactive map that somebody can't find out anyway, either through chatting in the Discords or whatever the case might be. Does that make sense, or are there still concerns on that?
I think you meant more from a reverse auction standpoint, like if you know, the rogue situation we've been discussing frequently.
I'm not sure on that, you know, because we're kind of torn on this, because we have, for example, some duchies that are underpopulated and are absolutely going to welcome people joining with open arms, right? And so we don't want to kind of like say, oh, Boardwall doesn't want people to settle. But we also definitely have communities where it's like, wow, you know, we've got so many mayors, or we've got a plan for this area and we want to NPC conquer it. And if somebody was to place there, let's say innocently, and we have to remove them, it's a bit of a fucker for that person, right? If they're genuinely innocent. To me, it's like, well, they should have checked kind of like, you know, with the duchy or the county or whatever before placing. So in a little bit, the responsibility falls on them. But I feel that we have a little bit of responsibility to let the community at large know, hey, these are the places that you can place. These are the places that you can't place. I think that somebody placing as a rogue count in a place that we've said, hey, don't place here, is doing it either out of stupidity or ignorance or hostility. And to me, all three of those, any one of those three is kind of like reason for removal kind of thing, you know?
Ignorantia non excusa.
Yeah, no excuse for ignorance, exactly. All righty. So go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Speaking of showing your cards, if you want to go back to doing something on your desktop while you're on stream, just click the Kingdom Present scene.
Gotcha. Okay. I can do that. So then the next thing I want to do is actually does anybody else have any questions before we move on from talking about the website?
AD, this is Lion. Just a quick question. Since I am a mayor and I may not place in the county or in the duchy that I would be pledging to, but I was hoping that we would still be able to see possible areas that we could settle to still be loyal to that faction, but also place within another area that has sea access or ocean access or river access. With the timing of this map and domain and settlement selection happening, are those two going to coincide, or is it going to be a gamble for anyone that's going to be doing that to determine, you know, not in a negative light, but just, well, we didn't know that other people wanted that. We didn't know other people wanted that, or, you know, maybe we just picked it because time ran out. That's when we were scheduled to pick for our order.
I think it's a good question. So here's kind of like how I see things happening. Understand, or at least my current understanding is that there's going to be a week for the monarchs to pick their kingdoms. Then there's going to be a week that follows that for the dukes to pick. Then there's going to be a week for the counts. And then there's going to be a week for the mayors and barons, right? So what is going to happen is I am going to be, as soon as the fantasy map type for domain and settlement selection is available, I'm going to be copying that. I'm going to be screenshotting it at very zoomed in level, right? Probably at the highest zoom in level that we can. And I'm going to be making that available, to the dukes and certainly to the counts within our duchy. What the other dukes do is obviously up to them. And we basically, at least in Blood Oak, and I believe the other duchies have done this as well, we've held kind of like speculative exercises as to, well, this is where this count is placing, this is where that count is placing, et cetera, et cetera. So my recommendation, especially if you're within the community of Boardwall, don't place outside of your duchy, or if you're unaffiliated, please check with the person who is kind of like running that, even if it shows that it's NPC. Let's say that it shows it's an NPC county and it's got 3 settlements, right? Check with the Duke of that NPC county and say, hey, D, I'm looking at settling here. Is this going to be okay? And I can say, you know what? Yeah, this one's absolutely fine to come in and take, and go ahead and settle there, and I'll kind of like earmark it for you so that if somebody else asks me about that exact same settlement, I can say it's spoken for, or I'll say, hey, no, we have 2 people within our county community that are planning on placing there or buying it on reverse auction or whatever the case might be. Does that answer your question for you?
It does. Thank you.
Excellent. So, go ahead.
Hey, it's Jazz. I'd like to chime in on this. Like any type of oceanfront real estate that becomes available, you got to understand that it is like prime real estate, and a lot of people are probably going to be having plans with it. So to like further iterate what Dee is saying, check with people before you say I want this or like place, because like there's a lot of dukes that also have plans for their coastal fronts, as well as like their community members that want to have stuff there. And there's also deals existing between the dukes of allowing access to those certain areas. So I can, like, in the terms of coastal access, really, really pay attention.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for bringing that up, Jazz. That's very much appreciated. The map, the fantasy map that's going to be shown, and actually our upcoming BBC live stream this coming Tuesday is actually going to specifically focus in part on that map, the fantasy one. But suffice it to say, it's going to show, the navigable rivers and how far the river. It's a deep river, which means it'll probably take, anything up to ocean going hulls. Then it'll be a medium depth river, which means you can probably get longboats and warships and everything. And then it'll be a shallow river, or I forget what it was they called it, that you can probably only get sailing dinghies up, right? But the, coastal access, river access is very, very prime. And be aware that if you do snag something and it hadn't been agreed upon with everybody else, you truly might be fucking somebody else over, and it won't be looked upon probably kindly just because you said, well, I got the IP, so I'm in this duchy, but man, that thing over there looks really attractive. I'm going to snag that before anybody else does, because you're probably fucking over that duchy's plans, and not a good idea. It won't be looked upon. It's what we do here is, at least again within Blood Oak, and I believe I'd like to think that it's the same in the other duchies, is that we try and accommodate everybody's needs, but with the understanding that not everybody's going to be able to be accommodated. If everybody wants a coastal county, obviously it's not going to happen, right? It's logistically not possible. So we try and match the needs of the individual with the needs of the community, whether that's on a settlement, county, or duchy level, etc. So hopefully that answers that. Speaking about, let's go into this a little bit more. So talking about the duchies, this in fact is the our duchy or our kingdom map here, and you can see where the dukes are meant to be picking, etc. And we've got the biomes there. Most of you are familiar with this. And what we're going to be doing is let's actually here. I I was going to kind of like, we had a county meeting in Blood Oak about a week ago. It was last weekend. And I showed some pictures regarding, you know, different strategies of what happens now with this reverse auction stuff. And so what I want to do is show you kind of like a couple of strategies. I'd asked them not to share the images, but, you know, during the week I figured, you know what, I'm going to show these images. It's not like they're super top secret. And if they benefit some of our other dukes or some of the counts and some of the other duchies, you know, that'll be awesome. So if you hold on just one sec. All right. So let's look at some of the potential ways of dealing with rogue placements, right? And let's go with, oh, let me get back in here. Let me do this. There we go. That should, no, it's not quite centered, but it's good enough. So let's look at this thing, and what we have here is the solid line is where a count intends to place, right, which is D124, and the dotted lines represent the two counties that he would like to take, but he doesn't have counts for, and that he wants to take over once the game starts, not during reverse auction, but, you know, let's say that none of his guys, you know, are going to be doing reverse auction, etc. So the first thing naturally that he would do is he would look at placing his capital, and we'll make that the green settlement. And obviously I've kind of like simplified this quite a bit. You know, there's 3 main settlements in each of the counties, etc. So once he's placed that settlement, what will happen is if he has, let's say, 8, if he has 8 mayors and barons, it's a no-brainer, right? They all place in there. An account cannot buy this during reverse auction because the count won't have a settlement to call his county seat. So in effect, what's happened here is you have cock-blocked a rogue count from placing the county, even though this is kind of like still an NPC county. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this to the, I think you'll probably have to leave one settlement left, right? You'll probably have to still leave the settlement that the NPC count owns. So that probably can always be claimed. You know, if we look at a different scenario, what if you only had 6 mayors and barons, right? Well, then the answer there would be to split them 3 into one of the NPC counties and 3 into the other, and leave actually the 2 settlements that are in your own county empty. And the reason for that is it's going to be easier after game launch for you to colonize these or to purchase them up through reverse auction. And obviously somebody looking to buy a county through reverse auction won't be able to purchase these because you already own the county, right? To me, that is a better scenario. You know, this is what would happen if he wanted a place. He's got to place right here inside the county. And it's going to be a lot easier, basically, to oust him or incorporate him or whatever the case. So this is better than placing 3 here and having them place in one of the other NPC counties, because what they is they can go ahead and then claim that county, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to claim this county than it would have been in the earlier scenario of just that settlement that was already inside the county. And then naturally, if you have 4 mayors and barons, I recommend putting 3 of them in one county and then 1 in the other. And this is better than splitting them 2. In the worst case scenario here, you end up kind of like just having to fight for one of the counties. But had you split them up 2 and you might end up with this kind of a situation, right? And now you're really kind of like having to, you know, those 2 rogue counts might be coming against you. So, you know, hopefully, you know, these were just a couple of images and everything like that that hopefully will help you with the just a little bit of thought. And as I say, as we go through domain and settlement selection, I think more complex, more sophisticated placing strategies will evolve, because I can only speculate here and we haven't seen the map. I've just done a very kind of like theoretical, kind of like speculative thing, hopefully. But hopefully, you know, that helps some of the counts and some of the mayors and barons have a little better of idea of what might be going on and what might be asked of them. Like, you know, hey, you know, can you place not in my county, but can you place in the county next to us that we're intending to take, you know, 3 months after game launches or whatever the case might be. Does anybody have questions in regard to this? Nobody?
I mean, I'm going to say yes and no, but I think it's better a thing discussed between you, my Duke, my Count, and me, because it kind of has a complex questioning line thing, and I don't want to take up too much.
I appreciate that. And, you know, my door's always open for stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely. Give me, probably not after the meeting, but maybe tomorrow evening or something like that. You know, Wednesday, because I've got to be getting ready for the live stream on Tuesday, tomorrow and Tuesday.
All right,
so
sounds
is it something that can hold off until Wednesday?
Yeah, but it'll be pretty last minute because it's regarding the twin towns or whatever.
Then let's do this. Let's talk about it right after this meeting then, okay?
All right, sounds good.
If it's time sensitive, then I'll make time for it, kind of thing, you know? And we'll see if we can address whatever the question or the issue might. Anybody else have any questions or comments or observations regarding domain and settlement selection?
Can we use those pictures now, Dee?
You can use those pictures now because they are now public, right?
Cool,
so
thanks.
that is good. Yeah, it was kind of like, it was my thing. It was like, you know, I don't want these getting out necessarily, but then I was like, I'm just being stupid and paranoid, you know. And you know, if they're of help to people, use them. And if other people in other kingdoms find use for them, so what? You know, we're not planning on invading them or doing this, or we're not looking at placing rogue dukes or rogue counts in other kingdoms. So it doesn't do us any harm. And the stuff that we share about our settlement and domain selection, other than you know, don't place here, maybe on the interactive map, you know, the reasons for that and everything will be kept, you know, obviously between the Duke and the Count, or the Count and the Mayor, etc. So the thing there is also, you know, bear in mind that if you have bloodline package or above, you'll be able to perhaps pick up, you know, an extra county or an extra settlement or something like that. Maybe even if you weren't looking for one during the reverse auction, just to kind of like secure your situation and your position a little bit more, you know, within your individual counties or your individual duchies if you're looking at getting counties. You know, maybe hold a community fundraising or something like that within your duchy or county Discord, or do a raffle for it, you know, $5, $10, you know, per ticket entry kind of thing, and use the proceeds of that to again help secure, you know, whether it's a county or whether it's a settlement. I do have one thing, and I'll be addressing actually Duchy 10 here shortly in a moment. But does anybody know, or do any of you that are currently here have any interest in reverse purchasing the Duchy of Duchy 6 there? I doubt that you do, but I thought that I would ask up front. Or if you end up doing so, obviously get in touch with me. Duchy 10, and I'll be going over that situation because that involves what happened with Ceruleum a little earlier this week. Duchy 10 is now spoken for. Duchy 8 is still spoken for. And so we only have one duchy left. And if somebody is looking at, oh, shit, you know, if I can buy that for, you know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever, I'd like to run a duchy, let me know, because we do have plans of expanding into there, and we would want to make sure that whatever we're doing isn't going to get in the way of somebody who's looking at purchasing it by reverse auction. Because I would rather that somebody that we know and is a part of a community purchases it, and we, change and modify our plans, than have a complete stranger purchase it, or even like, a group. You got some of these, murder hobo big groups. I think we're too far from launch for them to kind of be overly interested in it right now. But I would hate for not that I have anything against them personally. I actually love their things that they've done in EVE Online. But, Goonswarm suddenly purchases the, Duchy 6 through reverse auction, and then all the counties and all the settlements were like, we're in an oh fuck situation, So if you know somebody, or, if you're talking in your own discords, etc., mention that obviously still is available as an option for people. And I guess I want to move on right now, because I know some of you are wanting to watch The Walking Dead, and I said we would wrap up the meeting in around about 20 minutes. So the last thing that I have on the agenda is I just wanted to kind of be fairly open about the situation that has happened with Ceruleum this week. And it's because kind of like you're hearing it, at least from this side of the horse's mouth. You're more than welcome to reach out to Malphite and get his side of the story, because there's always kind of like three sides of the story, right? One of each side, and then kind of like, what they call the truth, that kind of like typically falls somewhere in between, maybe closer to one of the versions than the other. But it's, I don't have any problem with you guys doing that. But, if you discuss it in your own discords, discuss it in private chat. I don't have a problem with you guys discussing it. It's just, we try and keep the actual Kingdom Discord itself drama free. It's not the place for this kind of stuff, or saying, wow, D was a dick, or, somebody else was a dick, or whatever, it's just not the place for it. So I want to kind of like go over what happened on that. For those of you that aren't aware, Malphite was the Duke of Ceruleum, and that situation has changed here in the last little bit here, and so I want to address this. So, on the 11th of March, so around about 20 days ago, so just on 3 weeks ago, we had a Dukes meeting. And again, that image that you're looking at on the screen right now, we had a Dukes meeting, and all of the Dukes were there. And I asked specifically and categorically if everybody was still committed to placing their duchy where we had agreed upon this map. And everybody typed in that categorically that was the case. So on the 19th of March, Malphite, the intended Duke of Ceruleum, approached Kairos about placing the Ceruleum Duchy in the Kingdom of Kairos. And Kairos said that they would not okay that without me giving the green light to it. Now, I want to make it crystal clear here to everybody, and if you hear people talking about it as to what my philosophy, it always has been. It's in the members' handbook. This is not something that was cropped up because of the situation. This is a core philosophy of ours. If Malphite, or anybody else for that matter, wishes to change where they want to place their package, whether it's a county or a duchy package or a settlement, or even if they're a regular Illyrian package and they don't like the duchy or county they're in and they move to it, everybody has that right. And I back that 100%. It is everybody's right, and they're 100% entitled to place their package wherever they would like, be that in the kingdom or outside of it, wherever they think is going to be giving them the most fun. Now, what became an issue here is that the duchy title isn't actually Malphite's. Malphite is a count. And he was going to be getting the title transferred over to him by a gentleman called Imo. Perhaps some of you aren't familiar with him because he basically got done with the drama of the Dance of Dynasties that goes on. He was done with that drama, like, I don't know what it was, 18 months ago or something. Said, fuck this, I'm out of here. You know, I intend to give my duchy title to Malphite, and he's going to be the de facto leader of Cerulean. So with that, all is good, right? And then what happened is that when Malphite approached Imo, and I think it was earlier on this week, like on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or something, Imo, and actually I'm going to show this. If you're watching the screen, I'm showing just a little screenshot on there. And this is Imo's kind of like name at the moment. Imo basically stated that, you know, he's got no problem about Malphite placing the Duchy of Cerulean outside of Boardwall, but that because it's at such short notice and domain and settlement selection is literally right around the corner on us, that he wasn't comfortable with it and that he didn't want to do that. And Malphite basically, from my understanding, I wasn't present for that, but Malphite, according to Imo, apparently had a shit fit on him, and he didn't ban him, but he removed his permissions or something from the Cerulean channel, etc., etc. So then Malphite...
He kicked out all of this, pretty much all the people of the County of Shade with Imo all at once.
Do what, sorry?
He kicked out all of the County of Shade with Imo.
Oh, did he? I wasn't aware that he did that with the County of Shade. Okay, we'll get that sorted. And so, you know, there was no collusion between Imo and the County of Shade. This is just what's happening here. So he then came to me and said, so this is, understand, this is 10 days after he'd started talking with Kairos and he was speaking with Imo, because if he'd gotten the duchy title transferred to him, nobody could have said anything, right? So what happened was, though, is Imo wasn't giving him the title. Kairos said, hey, you're not going to place in here unless we get the okay from D. And so now Malphite came to me and he quoted it as, you know, oh, I have a suggestion. And my suggestion is, because I have no viable alternative, is I want to go ahead and place in Kairos. And I'm like, I was a little bit blindsided by that, with it being kind of like on such short notice, because that was the first that I had heard of it, which was this past Wednesday. And I said that I would try and contact Imo, which I did right away. And again, let me show you the screenshot for that. And the reason I'm showing this screenshot is because there's been a rumor circulating around that I was in collusion with Imo and that we had planned to kick out Malphite all along. If you look at the dates on that, I hadn't spoken to Imo in almost 2 years because, again, he'd wanted to stay out of the drama. I figured Malphite was handling everything with Imo. Malphite's trusted. Everything's good, right? And so let's see. So, you know, so we've only got 4 days left to establish a new Duke and Count. So this becomes kind of like rather critical and time sensitive for me to issue with that. So then the next day, I spoke with Imo directly, and I made it clear to Imo that the title is his title. And if he wants to give it to Malphite and move to Kairos, I have no say in that because it's his title. It's not my title. And he expressed clearly that he thought that it was a shit move to try and pull on such short notice and without having told me up front, etc., and that he would be placing in Boardwall personally. He's not going to transfer the title to anybody. He's going to be placing in Duchy 10, and that basically after game starts, because he really doesn't want to be doing that stuff, maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever, after game starts, whoever kind of like emerges as a deserving leader in Duchy 10, he's going to will the Duchy title over to them. But that way it's going to take care of it. So Then what happened, in essence, now Malachite was without, obviously, a duchy, since Imo is placing in 10. Shade said that he's staying in Duchy 8 and that he will purchase the Duke title for Duchy 8 through reverse auction, although he's also trying to buy it on the Illyrian marketplace, is my understanding, for 20,000 EP or something like that right now, so that he can actually secure it during domain and settlement selection, and that's fine. So Duchy 8 is taken care of. I told Malachite that he's more than welcome still to stay and place in Duchy 10. Well, remember, that's just the title, Grumpy. So that's $2,000. It doesn't include any of the design experiences, etc., etc. But I told Malachite he's welcome to stay in Duchy 10, and if he wants to stay in Duchy 10 and he emerges, or any of his people emerge as the kind of like deserving leader, you know, that's between Imo and them kind of thing. Suffice it to say that there was kind of like some colorful conversation coming from Malachite's side toward me, and basically he was calling, you know, the people in Kairos, Imo, myself, that we're all fucking idiots and stupid and blah blah blah. And I get that. Actually understand and empathize with kind of like you know, his plans kind of like being a little kind of like, you know, going astray. But I can't force Imo, nor would I even encourage Imo to give him the duchy to take out a board war. To be honest, you know, I won't deny the fact that I was kind of glad that Imo was of that opinion. But in the end, that was Imo's decision, not mine. So as I say, I still had hopes that Malachite, even whether he stayed or whether he left, you know, that we'd be okay. I did not. I've had a couple of inquiries from several of you over the last, I think I banned him yesterday. Hey D, why did you happen to ban Malachite? And I don't want to get into the drama. I'm not going to share screenshots of all the stuff that transpired behind us, etc. But suffice it to say that I was okay with him calling me a cunt and go back to England and, you know, go fuck yourself and all of that. You know, I'm a big boy. I can handle that. This isn't the first, you know, large community that I've been building. But when he, you know, it crossed the line for me yesterday when he said, if I knew your address in real life, I would come and choke you with your own beard. And it's not that I'm in fear of him doing that. Trust me, I think even at my age, I'm still capable of looking after myself, etc. It's just, it became very, very apparent that there wasn't going to be any reparation of the relationship. And so thus it wasn't doing Malachite, myself, but more importantly, our community, you know, any good to have him stay in the Kingdom Discord, since he's going to be leaving. So basically, Malachite is actually getting what he wanted. He's moving to that area, is my understanding. It's either finalized or in the last kind of like things of finalization, where he's moving to the exact place where he wanted to move to in Kairos. And the only difference is he's moving without his title. So, you know, I don't want any bashing of Malachite. I don't want any bashing of, you know, the people that left with him. It's an unfortunate situation. You know, tempers sometimes get high, whether it's on one or both sides, etc. And, you know, it's, you know, we part company, and it wasn't on the best of terms, which I would have liked. But again, you know, I can only offer stuff. And if it's rejected and you get abuse and toxicity back, you know, so be it, kind of thing. You know, I'm not responsible for how other people kind of like conduct themselves. So as I say, nothing's changed for Malachite. His plan has gone through. He's just done it without taking the duchy title with him. The duchy title remains in Board War, which is actually a little bit of a benefit, because previously we had 2 NPC counties, 6 and 10, but with Imo placing in 10 now, we actually were only left with Duchy 6. So in a weird way, we've actually benefited from it. Malachite and his group got what they wanted anyway, and you know, I guess we can be as happy as we can. But I wanted to, you know, I wanted you guys to at least hear my side of the story of it, so that I know how gossip works. So I just, I wanted to be fair and upfront with you guys. Does anybody have any questions regarding that situation?
Hey D, this is Lion. Just one quick question. Do we know the motivation behind that decision?
There's the motivation was, at least as it was explained to me from Malafite, was that they wanted more room. Ceruleum does have a situation. Ceruleum has a situation where they have a lot of counts, right? And Ceruleum was originally going to be a triple duchy. And they were getting enough counts to populate a triple duchy. Well, when Imo and Ledric, who had and Grumpy had the three duchy things, when they decided, hey, this is, a drama shit show, we don't want to get involved, basically what happened was Ledric wanted to give the duchy to me. The other gentleman was going to hold on to it just for whatever and see how things develop. And Imo was going to transfer his duchy to whoever was going to be the leader of Ceruleum. So this puts Ceruleum in a very real logistic difficulty of having so many counts that they're all squashed in, right? There's no room for NPC counties between them, etc., etc. So the idea originally was to give Ceruleum basically, and those of you that saw the map that we shared, I don't know what it was, 3 months ago, 4 months ago now, saw that we were given the bulk of Duchy 10 to Ceruleum anyway, so that they could expand and into there, because we recognize that situation. We're going to have them take, I think, 3 or 4 counties out of the bottom of Duchy 6. So they were actually going to end up basically, for all intents and purposes, like a double duchy. So not too far from where they had originally intended. And I don't understand this. You would have to ask Malafite directly on this. But rather than settle in Duchy 10 and take Duchy 10 and Duchy 8, he had mentioned that it was for because of lack of coastal access. But he decided that it was going to be better for them to move to Kairos. And, you'd have to talk with them for more details as to whether, whether what I have said is kind of like, the gist of what their intention was. Malafite has made it clear that he wasn't trying to be toxic or subversive with it or anything like that. And that, he was trying to do it because he thought it would be a good plan and a good move. It's, neither Kairos, myself, nor Imo happen to think that it's a good move to kind of like pull something like that, 4 or 5 days before you're meant to be giving in your duchy lists and everything like that, and no way to counter it with domain and settlement selection around the corner. But again, that's neither here nor there. I'm good with it as it is now, and again, I'm happy to answer any questions about it if you guys have any other questions regarding that situation.
So I'm from Shade, and I'm a bit confused on what exactly is happening there. So who's going to be owning Ceruleum? Is Shade staying in 8?
Yes, Shade's still staying in 8. All of his counts are staying in 8. Basically, nothing has changed, right? The only thing that's changed is that Malafite, along with some counts, is moving to Kairos. Shade is staying in Duchy 8, the way that he had always planned to. He'll probably be asking some of his counts or his mayors and barons who are interested in playing Drass for them to actually settle inside against the border of 8, but actually settle inside Duchy 10 and expand and basically become a double duchy as had always been intended. It's more than likely, this is obviously up to Shade, it's more than likely that the duchy gets renamed. We don't want to take the name of, we don't want to be in a fight with Malafite over the name of Ceruleum. That's
on that point, when he became Duke, he didn't want the name Ceruleum. He fought hard to get it changed. Me and a few other vocal people from Shade argued hard to have a vote on that, and the vote turned out to agree with us. But he never wanted Ceruleum.
Yeah, but it's, that's something that's going to be kind of like almost like between you guys to settle out. I don't think my understanding in my chat with Shade, yeah, we're not going to dwell on the past stuff. My understanding on the chat with Shade is that he wants to change the name anyway. And with it being his duchy and he's purchasing it, it basically becomes a moot point, right? Any other questions on that? Because we're actually moving up to that 7:45 time. Does anybody else have any other questions or any concerns or anything like that on it?
I'm just still confused at how it happened. After he fought so hard to get that Dutch.
Well, I explained it as much as I can.
I'm talking about in our Duke meeting. Like he was like adamant, like we have to have this, and then all of a sudden, just
yes, well, this is what I'm saying. And again, he went to Kairos without asking me about it first. Not that he has to, but it just seemed very odd the way that things went down. And so, it is what it is. Maybe he's aware that that it might cause red flags to go up for people or whatever the case might be. But it's fine. I think we're good. I personally, I wish him nothing but the best, and I wish his community nothing but the best. And I hope that they, that they're able to make that the home that they want it to be, and that they have the fun that they kind of like, are looking for and deserve, kind of thing, And it's there really isn't any point of kind of like having drama between us. I'd rather focus our time and attention on building Boardwall and building the respective communities on Boardwall than trashing somebody else in somebody else. They have every right to leave if they think it's a better situation for them. We in Boardwall, when we were a duchy, we were in a kingdom, and we thought that, we didn't like the situation that was there. And, and we left that kingdom because we thought, shit, we're not going to have fun with this idiot. Or, we didn't think of an idiot, but there were things coming out that we didn't like and weren't what we thought. And, and it's very possible and very legitimate that that's what happened with Malphite. I don't blame him for wanting to leave or move. As I say, that's everybody's right. The only issue was over the title. Imo decided not to give the title and, transfer the title. And basically that's the end of the story. Everything else is kind of like, between the officers that I spoke to about it, the officers that Malphite would have spoken to on his side, and it's done. Hopefully there's no issue. In fact, I really want to thank everybody that, that you didn't turn it. And this is, if anybody from Malphite's group is watching, you have my thanks and you have my respect that you didn't turn it into a shit fest in Kingdom Discord. And there's a little bit of respect for you as you start your new journey, and wish you nothing but the best.
I have a question.
Sure, fire away.
So I have a friend that has been mostly inactive that's account in that area. What should I tell him about the situation, and what kind of action should I advise?
I think you would best talk to Shade about that and ask him, because he's closer to it. I hate for it to sound like this, but it's like I was very removed. I mean, again, I thought that everything was going through and everything was flowing smoothly, and for me, the shit hit the fan on Wednesday morning. And ask Shade, because Shade is going to be making the plans for the new duchy, and it's not for me to tell you, what you should or shouldn't do, etc. Because I don't want to be cock blocking Shade or painting him into a corner on some plan that he might already be thinking of, and that I kind of like, say something that might be counter to that. That wouldn't be fair on my side.
Alrighty, that works.
All righty. Anybody else have any other questions? We're a little bit over time, so we can stay chatting here in this Discord. I'm going to do the little exit stuff on the live stream. It didn't go too bad, you know, for a first ever live stream type thing of me kind of like actually producing it. I want to thank all of you, obviously, for being a part of Boardwalk and supporting us. You know, whether that's even just being on the streams or watching the live streams or with the Patreon program, and you know, we'll keep working on projects and everything to really truly make kind of like, you know, Boardwalk a place to be. You know, understand we're not always going to get along with each other. It's, you know, you can't do that in a classroom of 30 people, let alone, you know, in a community that's going to grow to 16,000. But we do want to kind of like, you know, grow it in a way where kind of like, you know, people can coexist with you, just like they do in real life in a city, right? You've got all kinds of different people in a city, and, you know, they're not all bitch slapping each other all day long kind of thing. So, all righty. So the person that was wanting the voice chat with me, if you can give me around about 10, 15 minutes that I can go have a smoke, etc., message me, private message me, and we'll get into a voice chat right away on that. Does that work for you?
Yep, sounds good. I already sent you a message that covers what I wanted.